writers make these iconic characters, yet you bring them to life. I want you to tell me something that you guys gave your characters, something that you gave the Alfred we see in the series, something that you gave the Tommy Wayne we see in the series.
I think
my moustache.
Yeah, you gave him the tan. I gave him the sex appeal. I don't know. I mean, all of it really. One of the fun things about creating something, creating a world that nobody's seen before, is that you really can start from scratch, and you could, the attention to detail has to be there, but you can play around with it. And I think, you know, it was great fun with Danny Cannon, the lead director, Bruno Heller, the showrunner, and the production designer Mark Scruton. They all sort of, we were brought in on conversations like, you know, what tie should he wear and kind of what colour the doorknob should be and stuff like that. So it was great, that kind of attention to detail. In terms of what I brought to it, I mean, the physicality, I suppose, the voice, which is a nod to Michael Caine, but there's certain things you can do as an actor, and then a lot of the rest of it is kind of done for you by other departments, I suppose.
Ben?
What did I bring to it? I mean, I think you can't help ending up a character. You merge into a character, and a character kind of merges into you. So I don't think you're always aware of necessarily what you're bringing to it. You can have your like aims and focuses, and you can decide on your choices. But ultimately, I don't know. The character is quite different to me. I like to think he's quite different to me anyway. So it was kind of nice to transform into something different. But yeah, I'd just say the moustache is the main attribute.
Moustache, perfect. Okay, now you said something interesting. You merge into characters.
Yeah.
Now I want to ask the opposite thing. Like, what are you bringing home with you from Alfred? What did they teach you? Like,
well, you couldn't tell the difference between Jack and Alfred.
Same man.
We were about 3 episodes in, and you were like, "Oh, I don't know when. I don't know who's who. I'm not quite sure."
Can you tell now? I'm not like.
I don't know.
Nah. It's got. The thing is, when you play someone all day, every day for 6 months, you really start to cross over. So I'd go home, and people would be like, "Why are you talking?" You know, friends that you meet in the pub would be like, "Why are you talking like that or walking like that? It's weird." But I certainly took home his, you know, his sort of honesty and his morality and those kind of things. I think we could all have a little bit more of.
How about Tommy Wayne?
What did I take away from Thomas Wayne? Sex appeal. No, I don't think there was nothing about him that I think I absorbed into my life.
You wanted to shed that skin and
yeah, it's kind of it's like yeah.
All right. Now we've seen very few of this 60-ish time frame within the comics. Now, what sources did you use to prepare for your characters? What were your like guidebooks to get into the skin of these characters?
Well, I think that period is an incredible period for something to be set in because it was so rich culturally with pop, music, fashion. It was like one of the coolest periods that London's ever known. So there was a lot that we could key into, and there's a lot that actually exists within the series. But I think we were both given, well, I was given an actor, Cary Grant, who's a 1950s movie star to kind of look at for inspiration because they wanted him to feel like a movie star of that era. So I was watching kind of like Hitchcock films and other Cary Grant films and trying to focus in on, they had a very particular way of speaking, film stars of that era, and they had quite a specific physicality as well. So I think it was similar for you with Michael Caine, right?
Yeah, I think Danny and Bruno, you know, were pretty clear from the outset that if there were any, we were going to give a nod towards any of the previous Alfreds, it'd be Michael Caine. And luckily, he was sort of the archetypal film star of the '60s in Britain, so there was lots of popular culture references that we could look at rather than comics, which was great because I got away with reading thousands of comics.
Yeah. All right, now I know everyone's effort and performance was amazing in the series, but political correctness out the window and no answering everyone. Whose character would you like to see more of? Like, who was your favorite character within the series?
My character.
But not your own character. Besides your own character.
I love the pub landlord, Sid Onslow, who's played by Simon Day, who's a comedian essentially, and it was an absolute disaster trying to work with him because he's one of those people that just has funny bones. Like he just stands there and I'm laughing. So it was very difficult to get through scenes. So in some respects I want to see more of his character, but in others I never want to see him again.
I think for me, two of my favourite characters, they're only tiny characters, they both die in the first episode, and that's the torturer and then the little old lady with the gun. The granny with the gun, yeah. And
You
they were
can't
like,
say
they're
they
my...
die.
Oh no, yeah, sorry, but I wish they were in the rest of the series. It's unfortunate they're not.
We don't know. In comics, that's like never.
They could come back.
Very
That's
true.
true. That's very true, yeah. Hope they
Okay.
do.
You have accomplished a landmark within your careers with these parts. Like, which advice would you give rising talent and interested peers that are following the same path?
Don't do it, choose another career.
Do something else.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm really in a position to offer any advice. I think that I sort of there's nothing else that I'm really any good at, and I think so. It sort of had to work because otherwise I'd be destitute. But no, I think keep going. Don't take no for an answer, and if you sort of believe in what you're doing and you've got something to say, whatever that might be, eventually someone will listen if you keep knocking on the door.
Yeah, I think similar to Jack, I don't think I've done enough yet to give a huge amount of advice, but I guess I'd say if you're a creative person, always make sure try and make sure you're doing something creative and don't just wait for the opportunity to come to you. Maybe try and make sure that
I'm bad with
got
that,
some
yeah.
output going on, which is a lot easier said than done, but yeah.
All right, just to get like self-request of the way people fantasize in their day jobs every day. Have you ever fantasized about any press inquiry that you haven't been asked before? Because this is your chance. We could go with any question, no judgment.
Have I ever fantasized about being asked a question?
Yeah.
No.
No, I mean we've been asked so many questions now that I think there probably is one in there somewhere, but my brain is like scrambled eggs.
Perfect. Thank you guys for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Great questions. Thanks, man.
Thank you.